started. Well, happy Sunday, everybody. Jennifer Elizabeth Masters, and I am live in Toronto. It is starting to freeze with rain, and we've got about 6 inches of snow, although it's beautiful and white. So today I wanted to talk about some of the issues that are coming up for different people. And one of them is letting go of people. Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. So I've had a couple of questions about how can we let go of people that are toxic or not beneficial. Now, why would you want to do that? Let's look at that first. So, you know, I did a blog a little while ago about frenemies, and, you know, we have lots of people in our lives. Hi, I love you also. We have lots of people in our lives that come in, and they come in to teach us something. They might come in to teach us, well, maybe you've got some boundary issues, and you know, if you don't address them, you're going to have boundary issues with other people. So if somebody comes in and they show us something and they make us angry, it's for a reason. So, you know, sometimes we come in with a family unit and, you know, we're separated for different reasons, and everybody's got a different background with their family. So you may be close to some and not close to others, and how can you have a relationship that's viable with people that don't want to be in a relationship with you? That's one of the questions. So let me just see what we've got here. Hi, Marika. Hello, Philip. Hello, Chris. Nice to see you all. So I know that Bettina is watching and not feeling very well at this moment. So I just want to send Bettina Bailey lots of love, and we're going to do a little energy clearing in this. And why is that? Well, you know, when people are struggling and they don't know what to do or who to turn to or how to address an issue, this is something that I do for my clients. So I do coaching and hypnotherapy, but in that mix, I do energy clearing. And why do I do that? Because it worked for me, because it helped me to shift. I was so emotional when I was younger and had a lot of challenges in my relationships because of the internal conflict I had. So if you've got conflict in your outer world, hi Bettina, I love you. If you've got conflict in your outer world, there's likely some internal conflict. So let me just say, I'll give you a couple of examples of what the conflict could be. I want love, but I don't love me. I want somebody to love me. I want my brother to love me. I want my sister to love me. I want my friends to love me, but I don't have good limits and boundaries. I allow people to take advantage of me. I'm not able to say no when I really need to. So that is part of the conflict going on, perhaps. And I've had a couple of issues with some friends this year. And actually, 2017 for me was very interesting because New Year's Eve, you know, they say whatever you're doing New Year's Eve, and this is 2016 for me, I spent New Year's Eve with someone that I thought was a friend. And yet she criticized me. She, you know, found all sorts of ways to look at me and say, you know, you're not good enough. And that's what she was trying to do. And so it took me a little while because I really tried. I wanted it to work. I wanted to be friends with her. I gave a lot of myself to her. And then I ended up having to let her go. So this is the kind of thing that does happen. Now, if you've tried with someone, if you've tried to be friends with them, if you know, are there for them when they're going through difficult situations, if you remember their birthdays, but they don't do much for you in return, you've got to see whether this is this a give and take, because all relationships involve a giving and receiving. And if there isn't a giving and receiving in the relationship, then it's going to be off balance. Kimberly, okay, so speaking of vacations, so I am up here, I just want to address this. Kimberly Palm is an amazing woman and beautiful woman, intuitive, and she is doing vacations, stress-free vacations. So Marika, before this is going off and it's like scrolling, you had so many so-called friends like that. Okay, so last year for me, 2017 for me, there were 5 people that came into my life and that I had to let go. One was so negative that, hi Brian, Brian, hi Megan. So many people that came into my life and into my world to show me more about me. So this is what we need to understand. Some people come in to teach us a lesson. We learn the lesson and they go. Or we learn the lesson and we let them go. Because if somebody is abusive, if somebody is really critical, and I have had a couple people show up like that for me. They represented people from my past. My mother was extremely critical. And so when we're criticized, we don't feel loved. We're not being accepted. Unconditional love means to be accepted as we are. So, okay, so self-care. I want to talk about self-care, and we're going to get back into this relationship thing. So let's let this energy go. Take a deep breath. And I'm sitting in front of this beautiful fireplace here. It's a little toasty. Okay, so in traveling, when we're traveling, it can be challenging to eat the way we normally would eat or get enough wonderful water, which I'm going to take another drink of. And, you know, it's pretty cold here, and I'm not used to this, 20 degrees. I'm used to 80 degrees. So, excuse me one second. Okay, so self-love and self-care, they're all wrapped up together. When we love ourselves, we take care of ourselves. We get enough sleep, we get enough rest, and when we're not getting enough rest, then our body isn't working at its optimum level. Thank you. Please, if this type of thing is good for you and beneficial, share it with your friends. I really appreciate it if you could do that. So when we are criticized by others, and it doesn't matter who it is, whether it's our mother or father, and for me, it was both, but my father wasn't around a lot because he worked shift work, so my mother was the one that took care of us, and I'm going to just move a little bit to the side here. It's really warm in front of this fireplace. So what happens is when we're being criticized, we're not being validated. And so then we may spend the rest of our life looking for validation out there. And we have to give it to ourselves. We have to know that when we've done a project, when we've finished it and we've completed it, we've done a good job. When you've written that book and you've gotten it published, you've done a good job. Congratulate yourself. Step back and say, okay, now I can rest a little. This is time for me. We all need time for ourselves. We can't be working all the time. We have to have some downtime. Whether it's going to a meditation retreat or taking time for yoga and, making sure that you're breathing, meditating every day, taking that daily time for you to decompress and de-stress. It's so important. All right, so this is a biggie. And let me just see, Marika. So Marika is saying that she feels for Kimberly. She said she hopes she shifts. And you never know. Marika's had some breakthroughs with her father. And I've had some challenges with my mother, and it's part of the reason I'm here in Canada, and part of the reason I haven't finished this Happy Anywhere book. Because 2 years ago, I had a big thing with my mom where she yelled at me, and you know, I've healed a lot, but the biggest issue has been with my mother. And I will say to you all that our mother, the relationship that we have with our mother, is the most important relationship in our life. And why is that? Because they are the ones that teach us what love is. So I want you to just look at that, and probably you were taught a bunch of bull, and what you were taught in childhood wasn't true, because in my case, and a lot of people's cases, that if you didn't measure up, if you weren't performing to their satisfaction, if you weren't doing the things they wanted you to do, you didn't get the love that you wanted. It was yanked out from under you. And what is that? That is not, that's conditional love. It's not unconditional love. So, Marika's doing her thing. Thank you, Marika. Such a beautiful woman. Okay, so the bottom line is, whatever has happened in our childhood, whatever it was, it is only to teach us what we need to learn. That's all it was supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to break us. It wasn't supposed to shatter us. It was to give us something to use. That, you know, for me, the rest of my life I've spent with relationships, working on relationships. And for me, this is in my astrological chart, that I learned through relationships. And, you know, I've been married and divorced 4 times. And I've experienced a lot. Now, why do I do what I do? Because I've learned so much about myself and how I was the one that was the issue. Here's the thing. We're in a relationship with someone else, and if they're not loving us, then what we need to do is look inside. How am I not loving me? What am I not doing for myself? How am I not supporting me? How am I not giving myself what I need? Am I giving too much and not having firm boundaries? Because that's often the case, that we give too much. We're looking for that love to come back to us, so we keep giving and giving and giving, and then we end up empty and nobody giving back to us, and then we feel hurt. And so that's where we have to step back and reassess and go, okay, I need to take care of me first. I need to make sure that I'm loved and I'm accepted. And if I'm not, maybe those people I need to just let go. So take a deep breath here. Take a deep breath. Ground yourself with breath. Okay. So let me tell you a little story about intuition, because I think, you know, people might think that I've always had this wonderful gift. Yes, I have. However, when we're riddled with doubt, when we're riddled with fear, when we don't have good self-esteem and we are not in faith, and there was a long period of my life where I didn't know whether there was a supreme being or whether there was a God or not. And so when I wasn't secure in myself, I doubted the information that I received. I'm just checking to see. Marika keeps on giving me these wonderful gems. So Marika says that she was to go into a meditation. Someone gave her the advice. Okay, yes. Now we can do that right now. And this inner child work, I've had some people say that the inner child is not real. I totally disagree. Totally disagree. And when we're not connected to our inner child, when we've had abuse of any kind, trauma of any kind in our childhood, we often disconnect from our inner child. And so we have to really reconnect. So where the inner child is located is in the abdomen. So you put your hands there, and it is often where people say that, you know, the soul is located. You know, the Chinese believe, you know, that this part of our bodies where our soul resides, you know, around the kidneys. And so that's an interesting thought. Okay, so let's do the inner child work right now, and I'm just going to walk you through it. So what I want you to do is just turn your palms upward, and you can rest them on your lap, on your thighs, and take a deep breath. Just breathe in really slowly and deeply. And exhale completely, letting go. Take another deep breath. Exhale completely. Okay, now I want you to close your eyes just gently and keep breathing. Take another deep breath and go back to a time. Remember a time when you were a child, maybe 3, 4, 5, probably 3, around that age. And if you can't remember, think back to a picture, a photograph of yourself when you were a little child. So what I want you to do is make eye contact with your inner child. You can put your hands on their shoulder. So you're doing this in your mind's eye. Look them in the eyes. And I can feel somebody crying. It's okay. This means energy's moving. It's okay. So look your inner child in their eyes and just say you've got to tell them something. So with your eyes closed, I'm just going to walk you through this. Look them in the eyes. Imagine that you're talking to them. I'm sorry. Say that to them. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Let's do this one more time. So you're speaking to your inner child with your eyes closed. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Now, why are we doing this? You know, before we incarnate, and I've had this vision many times, I've been taken to this place called, it's a bardo. The bardo, and there's 4 of them, this particular one is before you incarnate into a body. And it's like we're standing on a diving board with our master teacher and guide, just one being. And we have already expressed what we learned in our previous life and what we didn't learn and what we need to learn in our next one. And then the guide will say to you, well, you can have this mother over here. Now with this mother, she'll be an alcoholic, and there will be a lot of opportunities for you to learn what love is and what love isn't. And you go, well, I'm not so sure about that one. Is there any other? And then the guide will point, well, you could have this mother over here, and this mother is going to be very fractured. She will have been an orphan herself, and she's going to be extremely critical. There's lots of opportunities for you to learn your lessons about love in this situation. And I said, I'll pick that one. So everybody picks their parents, believe it or not. You know, we've heard time and time again, oh, you don't pick your family. I beg to differ. We do pick our family. And some things are, you know, not part of the program. We pick our mother for sure. The father, sometimes we pick as well. But often it's you pick the mother first, and then you get what you get for the dad. But here's the thing. Our mother and our father are like a cup and saucer. They fit perfectly into one another. They have similar issues, maybe not identical, but similar issues. And why is that? because we attract what we are. So whatever your mother is, she attracted something very similar. That may be polar opposite, you know. So that's what happens before we incarnate. Well, Bettina just said that her son asked when he was 3 if she remembered when he was in heaven and picked her to be his mom. And, you know, that is beautiful. So I will tell you, my daughter Ariel told me that. She was around 7 at the time. And, you know, children come into this world awakened. They are already awakened. And then what do? We fuck them up is what we do. We mess them up with the schools. We mess them up with the things that we teach them that, you know, we think are true that aren't true. We mess them up with our perverted idea of what love is, discipline is. You know, that's what we do. It's what we all do. We can't help it. It's part of the program. So, you know, I've come to terms with this, that, you know, I did things with my children I wish I hadn't, but you know, I have asked for forgiveness from all my kids. I'm so sorry I did what I did, and I've been granted forgiveness from all of them. So here's the thing, is that we have to recognize we just are learning. That's what we're here for. We are here to learn, grow, evolve, and become enlightened in this lifetime. If it's not possible, we'll come back and do it again. There's always a do-over. And the thing that I will say, because I've had some people ask me about death, I've had lots of experience with death and people who've come back to me after they've left their bodies and told me, we're not dead. I've had 4 people do that. Diana Davis was one. Rich Rasuda came back the very night that he died, or that he transitioned, left his body, and he said, they will tell you that I had a heart attack, but I didn't. A door simply opened and I walked through. Now, he transitioned in his sleep like this. When they told me he had his arms crossed over his chest, I knew he was meditating, because that is the way he meditated. So the thing about death is that it is just another form that we take. It is not the end at all, because there is no end. And then we'll come back and do it again, unless we become enlightened and don't have to. And you know, then you can choose. And I choose to come back, because I want to be here to help people. So Bettina says, I believe that. My grandfathers came to see me all the time. They really let me know who was there with me. And my father too. My father came to me in a dream, and that dream was so crystal clear. That's what you call lucid dreaming. And I've had those types of dreams with people that are on the other side, where they come to you and they tell you. My father and I we're walking in this dream, and we're walking along, and we're going up, 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 up. And at the top, there's this big crevasse, a big valley. And we got to the edge of this cliff, and my father kept going. You know, he was just walking through the air. And I was like, Dad, Dad. He goes, you can't come. You've got to stay there, you know. You're not done. I wanted to go with him, but I couldn't go. So there was a point at which he left me and I had to stay. And there is that veil to the other side that, you know, sometimes we get glimpses of it, but, and I will say, it's a pleasant place to be. It's very joyful. And the 2 weeks following our transition, we have an opportunity to review our life, and we feel how we hurt people. And Bettina says, as soon as my one grandfather passed, he came to me in a dream. He was really there and told me he came to say goodbye. Absolutely. And in that dream that I had of my father, I cried. It was so profound because I felt like his spirit, really did visit me. Okay, so Kimberly. Kimberly Palm, she's an amazing intuitive. She said, I hear my dead family all the time. I've also been visited by a few famous people who had messages for friends. That is beautiful. Okay, so Marika says, after my accident, I saw 2 orbs for several months. I truly believe one of them was my grandmother. And when I go to temple, there are times, this is making me want to cry, there are times I feel something brush against me. Yeah, okay. So on occasion, I have felt someone sit on the bed next to me. And there's been a little depression. Oh no, I want to just share with you. There are amazing things that can happen. We need to expand our minds. We need to use our imaginations. And as Einstein said, basically intelligence is worth nothing without imagination. So we could be the most intelligent person in the world, but if our imagination isn't just wildly creative, then we're not going to be able to go beyond this little form or prison that we've created, the matrix, if you want to call it that. All right, so I just want to share a couple of things, mystical experiences that have happened to me recently. So I'm here in Toronto, I'm visiting some friends, and I was standing in the kitchen talking, and to the side on the floor was my little black kitty, Osiris. He transported himself to where I was to let me know that I'm thinking of you. I physically saw him standing in the kitchen. Like he came in, he showed it, his little tail was up, and then he disappeared. And now one other time, I was in Colorado. I don't want to miss these. Okay, so Marika, I'll tell you that story in a second. Marika says, one time I prayed to my grandmother with my Jewish prayer candle, and I told her that I love her, and next thing I saw was the wax had created a heart. Oh, she's got the picture she's going to be sharing. So let me just say that there are lots and lots of messages. How we got onto this tangent is kind of a beautiful segue here. But life without the acknowledgement of death, and I'll just tell you why. The book I am currently reading, and I highly recommend it. I will be mentioning this in my book, Happy Anywhere. This is a fabulous book because we cannot be living this life without also witnessing and recognizing that death is a part of life. That, every single day, this is why every single day when I wake up, I say, thank you, God, for my life. Thank you, God, for another day. We never know if we're going to have a day, a moment, a minute, a month, a year. We just don't know. And so if we constantly think, oh, it'll never happen to me, we're not going to live life to the fullest. And that's what we're here to do, people. We're here to express ourselves. I work with women all the time that have an inability to tell the man they're with they love them. If we can't tell somebody how much we love them, we've got some problems. Because this is the thing, is that everything changes. Everything is in a state of flux. We don't know how long anything's going to last. We don't know how long our relationships will last. We don't know how long anything will be here. So thinking that it's going to always remain the same, can create a lot of issues. Because the more that we can be flexible and flowing, this is why yoga is so wonderful. Breathing is so wonderful. Because the more flexible and flowing that we can be, the more able we are to work through what's happening in the world and in our lives. So Bettina says, I saved my great-grandmother's funeral announcement. When I found it recently, found it in my grandfather's things, I brought the ad home and put it in my notebook for safekeeping. Yeah. So, it's always a good thing to the Native Americans always revered their ancestors. And so in the prayers, they were always thanking their ancestors for what they gave them. And, we're kind of remiss in that, because those that have gone before, they've given us so much. And I'm going to give you a little example. My father was a lot of things. He was an angry man. He had an addictive personality. But I will tell you, so all those things, everybody has issues. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to come into this life without some sort of issue to deal with. Now, my dad was a very forward thinker. He had a very creative mind. He read Chariots of the Gods. He read about the lost continent of Mu. He read about, I'm trying to think, and it's escaping me at this moment, the channel. Oh, goodness, I'll come back to that. The healer and channel. He died in his early 50s, but he was a healer, and he helped people heal a lot of things. Hello, Mona. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Okay. So back to my dad. So my dad was an avid gardener, and we had this fabulous vegetable garden in our home in Weston. Huge. And we had apple trees, we had strawberries, we had asparagus, we had raspberry canes, we had gooseberries and red currants and black currants, and we always had lettuce and beets. And so, we were a middle-class family when there was a middle class. And so my dad worked full-time, and my mom stayed at home. That's the way it used to be back in the good old days. And, that kind of an idyllic, from the outside, lifestyle where mom stayed at home. She took care of the kids. She cooked, she baked. And we didn't eat a lot of meat. And this is something that I highly recommend that we all do, is reduce the amount of meat we're eating to a minimum, very little bit of meat or no meat, and lots of vegetables, because that's where we get the nutrition from. When we're eating raw fruits and vegetables, I had this beautiful carrot and apple juice with turmeric this morning. You're eating light. You're getting photons, and we are light beings. So the more that we can eat that's light, the more connected to our spirit we become. So I wanted to go back to the things I learned from my father. So gardening was one of them. And then a lot of us in my family. No, I'm not Jewish. Marika is Jewish. So Mona asked. No, I'm not Jewish. So when my father was in his prime, he was constantly working in the garden. Of course, we had to weed and hoe the garden, and we're eating fresh vegetables right out of the garden. So I became a master gardener, and then I had a landscape business. Now, my one brother is a farmer, and the other two are avid gardeners. So there is a lot that we get from our family that's good. And yes, there's negative stuff over here, but we're not supposed to hang on to this. This negative stuff is the catalyst for our growth. It's the stuff that's to push us to be better than our parents, to really grow and evolve. Not that we're better people, but to go and grow to beyond where our parents got to become awakened. All right, let me just check and see these comments again. Adam is helping me to eat right this week. Adam is amazing. He's very good at nutrition. So Marika, no, she sent it to me privately. So I'm getting these flashes up on my screen, and for once I'm able to keep up with them. Yay! Okay, so I want to go back to I'm going to use this gardening thing that I did, the master gardening thing. And then after becoming a master gardener, I had my own landscape business. And so so we're talking about intuition. That's where I'm segueing into. So every day I'd go into the barn. I had this fabulous farmhouse in Alpharetta on 7 acres, and a great big old barn where all my stuff was stored. And so every day I would load up the trailer and go into the barn, and I'd say, okay, let's see, I'm doing the sod installation today. So I would go and load up with the things I needed for sod. And I'd have something in the barn would be highlighted with a halo. And so I'd look at it, and it was something that, I wouldn't think that I needed it. And I would even say, and I knew it was my guides lighting up these things that, here, take this, you're going to need it. And I was so stubborn and so rigid. And this is why I'm saying, you want to be like the willow. You want to be able to flow and move, because the more rigid that we are, the more stubborn that we are, the harder life will be for us. And that is probably one of the biggest lessons I've learned, is that stubbornness doesn't serve us. It protected me for a while, but after a point, it didn't. It didn't serve me at all. So I would stubbornly say, I don't need that. I don't need that tool. I don't need that tarp. And I'd get 3/4 of the way through the job and then go, darn it all. I wish I had listened to my guidance. I was so stubborn, so in my mind, in my ego, thinking, I'm right, you're wrong. So how often is it that we think we're right and the other is wrong, whether it's our guides or whether it's our friends or whether it's our parents or a lover or whoever is trying to help us, and we go, oh no, you're wrong. And so I did this for months, people. So eventually, when something was lit up for me, and what started to happen was I'd be out in the world and a human would be lit up. And so when I'd see a halo around somebody out in the world, whether it's at Target or the grocery store, I would approach them and say, I'm supposed to talk to you and I'm not sure why. And now I had a conversation with someone 5 years ago in Walmart, and he just recently called me to tell me that conversation changed his life. So we never know when we get guidance where it's going to take us or the other person. So now when I hear guidance, I follow it. Okay, so now how do we get to that point? Well, I'll tell you, the more confident that we are with ourselves, the more secure we are with ourselves, the more we trust the information that we hear. Now for me, it used to always come in on this side, the right side. But there are times when across like my forehead, like my third eye, I would get words like when I was told to move to Boulder, Colorado back in 2011. I made the decision because I got guidance 3 times, Boulder, 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 in big block black letters. And Adam, my son, was there, and he said, oh, Mom, you would love Boulder. And we made the decision. I sold my equipment. We moved within 2 weeks. And Ariel's father also, both of us had been living in Georgia for almost 30 years. He moved to North Dakota. Had we not moved to Boulder, my daughter Ariel wouldn't have had those last 10 months with her father, because it was close enough for him to come visit us once a month, and he'd stay for about a week, have time with Ariel. And that last 10 months was a huge, huge gift for her, because she worked out a lot of things with her dad. She had been very angry with him. All right, so we never know where information is going to lead us. So Kimberly is saying that she constantly channels God to people. And she went to lunch with a friend yesterday and wound up channeling a whole session of life-changing info. But here's the thing about that, and that's beautiful, Kimberly. Sometimes people aren't ready to hear what we have to say, and we have to be careful about that, because we may have the guidance, but are the people that are listening or that we want to tell, are they ready? Because if they're not ready, they're not going to receive it. So Bettina needs some help, she says. Okay, so back to the sinus infection, Bettina. So sinus infections are not just about suppressed anger, but I've got something else for you. And this will help you understand a lot. It is suppressed crying. So if you have sadness, if you have some emotion that you can't process, you're upset with someone, a family member or someone that you want love from, you want them to love you, and they're not loving you, cry about it. Find a way to get down into that emotion, to really feel it. The crying is very healing, and it was really necessary. Now, Marika is asking, how do you know that you're channeling God? So there's different information that we get. When I was told that I needed to move my truck and trailer in Georgia, I knew that was God speaking. When I was told to move to Boulder, Colorado, I knew that was God speaking. And when I get different information, like when I'm doing clearing for someone, those are my guides. It's a different energy. It's a different vibration. When God speaks to us, it's more, it's bigger. It's more resonant. You feel it in your body. It's like, whoa, that was powerful. It's like a loud, booming kind of energy. Like, you've got to listen to this. It's bigger. It's stronger. It's there's a difference in the feel, the vibrational feel. Okay, Marika says that she's wanted to cry since Friday. So here's what I recommend you do. I recommend, if you're having difficulty crying, I'll do some emotional clearing here on this. And we're going to do that in just a few moments. And then I'm going to let you all go for the rest of your beautiful day. So when we've got trapped emotions and we've had a lot of hurt, we have a tendency to shut down our hearts. And when we close down our hearts, it's like a concrete wall or a garage door that goes boom, and it closes this down. And when we're shut down here, it's really hard to move it. So Marika says, I wish crying would give me what I want. That's making me so frustrated. All right, so we'll talk about the manifestation. Please remind me, but I think what I need to do is I'm going to do some energy clearing, and then after that, we're going to talk about manifestation, because that is something that comes very easily to me, and I teach this to people all the time, and I want you to have this information. So let's do a little energy clearing. So everybody, palms up, uncross anything that's crossed, and close your eyes and just relax. And you could say to yourself, I release anything that no longer serves me. I release all that no longer serves me. So I'm asking to connect to your high selves. And if you are ready to release this energy, if you would like to have this energy clearing, just say yes. So Marika's asking a question about manifesting. Why is it so hard? Okay, so hold that thought. We're going to come back to that. All right, so I want to clear All right, so just relax. So I'm going to just kind of send you some energy, and I'm clearing while I'm doing this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear sorrow and crying. My hands are vibrating. Let's clear sadness, anxiety, okay. All right, clear love unreceived and abandonment. Clear vulnerability and unworthiness. And clear crying again. Clear worthless. Clear low self-esteem. Depression. Humiliation. Guilt. Grief. That's a biggie. Let's clear a shame. I want to clear blocks to success. I want to clear blocks to love. How about some self-abuse? We're going to clear that too. Let's see what else. Overwhelm. Worry. What else? Pride. Self-righteous indignation. Love unreceived. I want to make sure we got that again. Okay. So hopefully that will help you all to feel a little better, a little lighter. So that's some of what I do for my clients. That's like just a little taste of an energy clearing. It will help you to feel lighter, and I clear patterns and programs from past lives and things that are blocking you from having what you desire. Okay, so for manifesting, the key of it is to be grounded. You have to be totally grounded in your body, totally present. And you may be creating unconsciously. So if you say things like, this will never work, this is hard, I don't see this happening, I'll tell somebody something that I that I see. I've had clients say to me, oh yeah, right, like that'll happen. And I have to go, stop that. Change that thought, because what we say is what programs the unconscious mind, which is what creates for our world. So Bettina was saying that her right hand was twitching at the beginning of the clearing. So, some stuff is being moved out, and you may feel a little tingling. You may feel, just a little a little bit of movement in your body. You may be twitching. You may find you sleep better tonight. But you know, when you get a full clearing from me, then all of those things are going to be evident. And it can take up to 5 days totally, which, you know, for the energy clearing to be completed. So Marika says, I did an exercise today where I picked pictures and wrote what I saw when I put myself into it. Okay, but the exercise was challenging. Okay, so we're going to just do a manifestation exercise, but what I want to focus on here is that what we think, what we say, and what we think is what governs. Because what we're doing is we're feeding into the unconscious mind, but the other thing is if we believe that we do not have the power to manifest, then we're not going to be able to. If you think only God or Jesus or, you know, the masters are able to manifest, then you won't be able to. So you have to have the belief that it is possible. Not only is it possible, it's probable. Okay, so you have to be present in your body. So you're breathing, be present. You focus on that one thing you want to create. Is it you're wanting $1,000? Is it that you're wanting $500? Is you wanting a love relationship? Are you wanting travel and adventure? What is it that you want? So focus on that one thing and just think about it. How can I easily and effortlessly have a new car? How can I easily and effortlessly have 500 sessions with this telesummit, the U-Wealth Revolution? Thank you, God. How can I easily and effortlessly have a best-selling book? How can I easily and effortlessly get 5 new clients? How can I easily and effortlessly... I love you. I love you, Kim. Thank you for being here. So you ask the question, how can you easily and effortlessly have it? And then you just send it out into the universe and let it go. So what I teach is you envision it. You envision it, you feel it. What would it feel like to have that new car? What would it feel like to have that trip that you're dreaming of? What would it feel like to have that love that you have always wanted? What would that feel like? How would your life be different? And feel it fully. Get excited, because emotion is what fuels our manifestation. So if I'm doing some sort of manifestation and looking for some, I get excited. I go into gratitude. I am so grateful for my clients. I'm so grateful for my vibrant health. I'm so grateful that my mother is still living. I'm so grateful for my family, my brothers, my kids. I'm so grateful for all my animals. I'm grateful for the wonder in this world. I'm grateful for the beauty outside. So the more gratitude you can express, you're in that connected state. And when you're feeling gratitude and feeling joyful, that's when the creation comes to you easily. But if you feel afraid, if you are feeling lack, then you're not going to get what you want. So you have to feel the riches. You have to feel, yes, I can do this. All right, everybody, I'm going to do a quick little Cascade of Miracles prayer to close, and then I am going to have a late breakfast that's been cooking for me. Okay, everybody. So I'm asking for a Cascade of Miracles to unfold for everyone's life. Anyone that hears my voice, I ask for a Cascade of Miracles to unfold for you. May you have vibrant health. May your family members be vibrantly healthy. I ask for this Cascade of Miracles to unfold in all areas of your life, your finances, your love connections, your friendships, your health. And I ask for these miracles to continue as long as you are grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Amen. It's been a joy to be here with you. I hope that you found this enlightening, and please do share if you've enjoyed it. Share with your friends. And if you have further questions about me, I'm Jennifer Elizabeth Masters. My website is jenniferelizabethmasters.com. My email is jenniferelizabethmasters@gmail.com. I love you. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Marika. Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you, Bettina. And Anthony, thank you for watching. I love you. Have a beautiful day.